There are few video game developers that have as much cachet with an audience as Jeff Kaplan.
Hi everyone, this is Jeff from the Overwatch Team. Jeff from the Overwatch Team. Jeff from the Overwatch Team.
Not only was he a vice president at Blizzard and director of Overwatch, but Kaplan was also a figurehead for the community to gather around. Whether it was to complain to him about the latest meta and lambast balance changes, or to turn him into memes.
2 to the 1, from the 1 to the 3. What's up? This is Jeff from the Overwatch Team.
And celebrate the festive season. For most, Jeff Kaplan was Overwatch. It makes sense then that his departure from Blizzard shook the community, giving rise to questions about the future of Overwatch 2 and the franchise in its totality, as well as the development team behind it. Along with the announcement that Kaplan was leaving came confirmation that former assistant game director Aaron Keller would be taking on directorial responsibilities for the project and the team. By Keller's own admission, Kaplan is a tough act to follow, but he's anchoring himself to creating the best possible Overwatch sequel that he and the team can make. The first thing that Keller said is something that will sound familiar if you ever heard Kaplan talk about developing Overwatch. Making the sequel is a team project, and in fact, his role in the creation of the game might not be as hands-on as you think. Instead, it's the many talented people at Blizzard that are forging the future of the franchise together.
Jeff and myself, there's a few ways to look at the position, but one of them is we do the least amount of things for this game. We're not opening up the editor and building characters or animating them or building maps for this game. That's everybody on this team. And so I get that from the outside. This can look alarming, and this can look like the entire team just left, or the vision holder for this game just left, but it's not the case. The team is the one that's carrying the torch forward, and they always have been. The Overwatch team was started in 2013. Our senior leadership group, they're all original members of that team. We have so many people that started this project that are still there, and then we have brought so many other people on that are now like these incredibly impactful creative members of the team, and all of us together are the ones that are bringing this forward. And I'm just happy that I'm able to play whatever role in it that I can.
Naturally, the big question around Keller's appointment is whether things are going to change drastically. People tend to ascribe a vision around a game to one person. In the case of Overwatch, that person was Jeff Kaplan. So, does Keller have his own ideas that he wants to implement?
I was lucky enough to be in a role previous to this where I was really well connected and aligned to what the vision for both Overwatch 1 and Overwatch 2 were. Coming into a position like I'm in right now, we're mid-cycle on Overwatch 2. I don't think it's right for me to suddenly make a bunch of big changes to either one of these games. And I think what's nice is there aren't really huge changes that I do want to make to either game, because I've been so involved in both of them.
Among fans, one point of discussion is the pace at which Overwatch content and updates are delivered. Next to games like Fortnite, Call of Duty Warzone, Apex Legends, and other big multiplayer experiences, Overwatch moves at a glacial pace. Looking forward, with the aforementioned games as competition, are there plans to speed things up? According to Keller, quality is the priority, but Blizzard knows things need to be quicker, and it needs to hold on to content a little less.
Yeah, one of the values that Blizzard has is this commit to quality. And we're always looking to make the very best version of anything that we make. But I think that there can be a tendency to cling to that and maybe hold on to pieces of content or systems that we made longer than we should. We are going to make a great game, and we are really committed to making it as amazing as we possibly can. And the last thing we want to do is to release it early before it's ready, but we recognize that it's something that players are waiting for, and it's something that's important to put out there. So we are doing as much as we possibly can to accelerate the development process for it. I think that this is something that when I start looking forward, just personally on what I think we ought to be doing in the future, it's really important for the game and for the community for us to be releasing as much as we possibly can for the game.
Of course, one of the ways popular modern games keep people engaged is through things like a battle pass and almost weekly updates, something that wasn't the case for Overwatch. As a result, there's been some discussion about Overwatch 2 needing to behave more like other live service games, if only to ensure that the player base stays healthy. While Keller didn't say whether the sequel will have features that have become commonplace in other live service games, he did indicate that having a lot of content is important.
I can't really speak to exactly what will be in there, whether this game's going to have a battle pass or not, but I think I can talk to our values a little bit, because when we design anything at Blizzard, we like to set up the values for it, or the pillars for it, and then everything kind of derives from those particular values. And the values for Overwatch 2 is that we want the game to feel like it has a constant heartbeat, that there's a lot of updates to the game, and that the community knows that it's kind of our first priority moving forward. So it's hard for me to say, like, every live game is a little different. Whether the value is a live service value, I think our value is to put as much time and resources as we can into updating the live game, into making it always feel kind of like new and fresh and substantial.
Talking about the new PvE mode, the so-called second part of Overwatch 2's experience, Keller said that this mode was important for people that might not be as dedicated to competitive gaming, but still have a lot of love for the game, world, and characters. As a result, it's something that the development team is committed to supporting.
What I'm hoping is that going forward, Overwatch 2 can be that game that is played by a much broader section of the community. I want the game to be just as competitive, if not more so, on the PvP side. We have a lot of really exciting things that we're doing to, I think, kind of shake up the way PvP is played, to innovate on what we've done, and to bring, new game modes and really interesting ways of playing to the table. But at the same time, we want this way for these people that just love this world and its heroes to be able to play the game as well, and to come away with like a really special story and a deeper understanding of what that world is. And that's what this other side of the game is that we're building. Or the PvP side of development is something that I think is incredibly streamlined across the team, and it is something that we're experts at. I recognize that the other side of the game is it's a big undertaking, and there's more to it than building the PvP side of the game. And I think the game that we've talked about is it's a content-based game. When you start talking about progression systems, especially deep progression systems, you need a lot of content in order to be able to deliver like a really great experience for players to work through that. We have a lot of people on our team that have worked on a lot of different projects throughout the industry and a lot of different games in Blizzard. We have a lot of people from the World of Warcraft team, from the Diablo team, and even from the StarCraft team. And I think that we all recognize the type of game that we're building, and we're building all of the right systems and the right content in order to make it really, really engaging and fun for players. So I agree with you. It's a big ask, but I think that we're set up and we're approaching it eyes wide open, knowing what it needs to deliver on that.
So, what about becoming Aaron Keller from the Overwatch team? Kaplan was a public presence, the subject of memes, goofs, and gaffes. Is that something that Keller wants or needs to be? And what is it like to have that expectation on him from the community?
It's important for us to communicate with our community. I can't speak to exactly what all of the updates will look like, or what the ways that we communicate are going to be. We're talking about several things right now that we're going to be doing going forward, but I'm not exactly sure what form all of them are going to take. But yes, I will be talking to the community. We have every intention of remaining in communication with our community. What that looks like, whether that's always me or not, I think is probably best left as a process rather than a decision. I guess what I mean by that is I think Jeff was a little uncomfortable as the person out in front of the Overwatch team. It was his value that as much of the spotlight could be put on the team itself. He ended up kind of becoming more and more focused on over time. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it worked out well for us, but it doesn't have to be that way. I don't have to be the person that's always communicating our thoughts and intentions. If it ends up happening that way, it will end up happening that way. But it could also be other people on the team that are taking up that mantle. I think the value here is that we continue communicating with our community. The value isn't that it has to be me doing it. Teams, especially like a creative team, a game development team, they're very organic structures, and they're entirely formed around the strengths and weaknesses and personalities of everybody on that team, from the newest members of the team to some of the most senior people on the team. And a lot of times what happens when somebody leaves a team, especially somebody in a leadership role, is everyone expects the new person to just jump in and do everything that the person that their predecessor was doing. So in a very real sense, we have a Jeff-shaped hole on our team right now. But I'm not Jeff. I don't have all the same strengths and weaknesses that Jeff has. I have a different leadership style than Jeff has. And so I think going forward, things will look a little different across the team. Things will look a little different the way in our communication style to the community. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's very natural for something like that to happen. Every game director that I know or have worked with has a slightly different focus. Jeff was a vice president at Blizzard, and his focus was really wide, and he was also incredibly capable of handling a wide focus and looking at not just the team but different parts of the organization. My mandate, and some of this is self-imposed, some of this is in conversations with other people across the company and the team, is to focus as much as possible on Overwatch as a game. That's where I'm going to be pouring my creative energy and passion and time building that. It's so interesting too, because I think you could see Jeff's love for the game in everything that he did. And I just really hope that going forward, the community realizes that not just me, but everyone else on the team shares that. We're developers at Blizzard Entertainment. We're like highly valued in the industry, and we could typically go and work anywhere we want to. But this is what we're choosing to work on because this is the game that we all love.
Does this mean Overwatch is back?
Yes. Yes, we are.
Thanks for watching this video about Overwatch 2's new game director Aaron Keller. This is actually a shortened down version of the full interview, which you can read on GameSpot.com. Make sure to check it out because there's a lot more details about the future of Overwatch 2, to managing the team and charting the path for the future of the franchise. You can find me on Twitter at Tomorhage, and I'll see you next time.